Hey YouTube, this is Justin, aka Demonic Sweaters, your guide in DIY multimedia production. Here again today with another Audacity tutorial, and I have a pretty good one today. This is going to be about taking a drum track that was recorded with a single microphone and, taking that mono sound and making it into a stereo sound and just making it sound as good as you can if you have minimal miking. So we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Before that, I wanted, though, to mention, first off, how happy and thankful I am for all of you guys subscribing lately. I just recently passed 1,000 subscribers, which is really, really awesome. Now I can go to other YouTube events they have here in New York City where you have to reach a certain amount of subscribers before you're allowed to go. So I can attend those now, which is really cool. And what else? I wanted to also talk about, some people on YouTube just aren't very nice, and I'm sure you've encountered some of these. And to bring something up, in my last video that I uploaded, my vintage tech review about the Fisher-Price phonograph, a YouTuber commented, he said, "Brah, why you look gay?" And, well, first off, brah, I am gay, and I'm not ashamed of that. I'm totally open with it. And if you've listened to my podcast or any of that other stuff, you'd already know that. But I understand that not everybody's going to be listening to that stuff, but it's not what this channel is about, so I don't talk about it all the time. So, whatever. Second off, though, if you come to my channel and you post hateful comments, you will get banned. And that's exactly what happened to this commenter. As well as the other one who was picking on one of the other YouTubers who left a comment on my video, basically thanking me for the video, and his English wasn't exactly perfect because he's from somewhere else, another country, and a commenter went on there and started making fun of his English. And first off, this is just really immature, and, it's just mean. Like, if somebody can't speak English very well, and they're just coming somewhere to learn something about a software, and they're doing their best, the last thing they need is somebody coming online, just some stranger, and making fun of them. So that person was also banned. So I just wanted to let you know, if you come to my channel and you want to be a troll and you want to, make fun of people or call them bad names or any of that stuff, you will be banned. If you get really hateful, I'll report you as, hate speech. But, I try not to do that unless it's, really bad. However, it's just common sense. Just be nice to people. That's all. So let's go ahead and get started with this tutorial. I mean, I'd say 99.9% of all the people that watch and comment on my videos are amazing people and very nice. And I'm really thankful that you guys are all here. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here we are in Audacity. And to get started, let's go ahead and import a drum track. Let's just go to File and then Import Audio. And I'm going to use one of these, if you watch my video recording drums on insanely cheap microphones, this is one of the overhead mics from that session. So what I'm going to do is select this one, which was the BM800 microphone. Only the overhead is what we're going to use. So we have this imported. And let's just go ahead and listen to it as is so you can hear how it sounds. Okay, I mean, it's really not bad for a single mic, but we can make this sound better. And how we're going to do this, first off, we're just going to select the entire track, the audio track, by clicking this little gray area right here. And then we can go to Effect, and then your menu is going to look a little bit different than mine unless you organized by category in the preferences. And if you don't know how to do that, you can watch, I have a video on here that's every Audacity preference explained. So if you want to watch that, that gives you a full understanding of all the options in Audacity. So, but you should still have these plugins or these effects that I'm going to be using in this tutorial because I'm going to use just the basic Audacity stuff. And you should probably have these just under Effect menu. So first what we're going to do is go to Effects and then go to Equalization. Or no, I'm sorry, Normalize first. And this will just make sure that the audio file is up as loud as it can be before we start, before it's clipping, before we start working on it. So go ahead and do that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to give it some EQ. So we're going to go to equalization and then flatten. If you have anything in here, you just click flatten. And now this is going to vary depending on, you know, one, your tastes, and two, how the drums were recorded. But what I'm going to do is, to me, they sound a little bit dull. Like, there's not quite enough high end on there. So what I'm going to do is give it a little bit of a high end boost. Right around 9,000 hertz, somewhere around there. And let me make that a little wider. Okay, and then I'm going to roll off the very low frequencies because, you know, 20 hertz and below, anything there, we're not going to be able to hear it really. And it's just going to cause weird level problems when you're trying to mix. So it's a good idea to do that. If there's any like strange frequencies that recorded or noise, you know, below 20 hertz, you can do a cut there. And then also I'm going to pull out a little bit of somewhere around 400. Just a little bit. So let's go ahead and preview that. Okay. That's a little bit better. That gave us a little more hi-hat. And I also want to give it a little bit of a bass boost so we can get a little bit more low end out of that kick drum. So let's go down to like around 80 hertz and boost that up a little bit. Now let's preview that. Okay. Okay, that sounds good to me, so I'm going to click OK. And now let's go ahead and normalize this again, because after you do the EQ, it's going to change the levels a bit. So let's go and normalize. All right, and you'll notice it brought that down a little. Okay, so what we have here is a mono file, but what we want is a stereo file. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to make a mono file stereo? And I'm not talking about using some kind of plugin either. We're actually going to do this the old-fashioned way. So how we're going to do this first is we're just going to make 2 copies of this same track. So to do that quickly, you can just highlight it and then press Control D on your keyboard, and that will duplicate. Do it one more time. You have 2 copies. All right. So now we have 3 of the same exact drum track here in Audacity. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the beginning of the file. Let's rewind. And now I'm going to zoom in here pretty close. That looks good. And I'm going to switch to my time shift tool. Now on these second 2 copies, what I'm going to do is slide these over just a little bit. So they're a little bit out of sync. And you'll see why I'm doing this here in a few minutes, but make sure also that they're out of sync not only with the first one, but with each other, but not too much. You just want it to be like not even a second, you know, like a few milliseconds, and that's why you need to zoom in. And you can do it to taste, you know, like once you play it back, you'll hear why I'm doing this. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to pan these other 2 channels left and right, and then I'm going to lower the gain on these by about -4. Actually, no, let's do -2 first. -4 sometimes is too much. So let's do -2. Oops. And now let's zoom back out. Zumba. Zumba back out. And then let's hear how this sounds now. Okay, so you can hear right away that there's like a slap back delay on there, but it's only coming mostly from the right channel. And that's cool. You could go with that, but to me that's just a little bit too much. So I'm going to slide this one back just a little bit. I think I went a little too crazy with it. Let me slide them both back a little bit. And let's zoom back out now. Zumba back out. There we go. Okay, sounds much better already to me. Let's compare. Let's listen to the first one with without the other 2 tracks. Okay, and then here's with the 2 copies added. Okay, so now already it sounds like a stereo file, and the drums sound much fuller and wider, and they sound more like, almost like you recorded them with more than one microphone, or I recorded them. So now what we could do to kind of even exaggerate this a little bit more is we can EQ these 2 other channels a little bit differently from each other and from the master track, which is what I'm calling this first track. And that one I'm leaving, you know, the volume is the loudest on the first one, and the other 2 are kind of like, they're kind of like complementing the original track. So what we're going to do first is click this first one, then we're going to go to Effect, go to Audacity, and then Equalization. And now let's change this a little bit. Let's bring down our, we don't want to boost the lows anymore because they're fine. Let's take down that. Now let's give this one like a 4,000, somewhere around there, hertz boost. Let's preview that to hear how that sounds. Okay, that sounds pretty good. We don't need this low cut anymore either, so let's take that out. Let's go ahead and click OK there. Now on this other one, we're going to go to Effect and go to Equalization again. Let's just go ahead and flatten it. And here I'm going to give it a little bit of a mid-range boost. Just a little bit. Not too much, because that can sound pretty weird. Let's preview it. Okay. Then let's click OK there. And now let's select those 2 channels again, both of them. And then we're going to go to Normalize one more time. Make sure that they're not going over the limit. And now let's play this all back. Okay, so what this does is when you EQ the 2 channels separately, you know, you're getting certain frequencies from some drums in one channel more than other drums in the other channel. And then you also have the, you know, the first track that I left on there and didn't really do too much to, and is still the loudest of the 2, as kind of the master track, and that's going to be where most of the kick and the snare is going to be coming from. But these other 2 are complementing it in such a way and adding this stereo dimension that otherwise it wouldn't have. So if we play it back, let's just listen, and I'll compare it with the original one again. It's almost like a Steve Albini drum sound. But so once we do all that, and if we're happy with it, what you can do, you can either leave all the tracks there and have, you know, 3 separate channels. But if you want to clean up your project and you're very sure that you want to leave the drums that way, what you can do is select all, Control A, and then go to Tracks, and then Mix and Render. And what this will do is create a single stereo track, but you notice it's peaking pretty high now. So let's go to Effect, go to Audacity, and then go to Normalize, and it'll fix that. All right. And there's also this one little spike. You see that right there? That one spike of audio is causing it to not be as loud as it can be. So to fix that, let's go into Audacity. And well, actually, no, I need to use another plugin for this. We need to go to the hard limiter, which is right here. And then, yeah, that might be good. Minus 3.5. Let's click Apply there. Close. And now we can go to Audacity and then normalize it one more time. All right, now let's zoom to the full project. Now let's take a listen. And also, I want to make something clear to some people who've commented on some of my Audacity tutorials. Audacity doesn't, just because the red light is coming on up here, doesn't mean that it's clipping. That's not how Audacity works. You can be touching in that red light and not be clipping. If you run normalize or amplify, normalize is essentially going to make it impossible to have the signal actually clipping. What you want with Audacity is actually to be touching that red just a tiny bit. If it stays in the red all the time, then that's bad. But if it's touching it and you've normalized your audio, unless you recorded it too hot, you're not going to have any clipping. So I just wanted to clear that up. Some people were confused about that. So yeah, this is how you can take a drum track that is recorded with a single microphone, make it stereo, and just kind of fatten it up and give it dimension that it otherwise wouldn't have. So hopefully you found this tutorial educational and entertaining. And if you did, please click like and comment below. If you'd like to see any other types of Audacity tutorials or any of the other software tutorials I do, just let me know. And be sure to subscribe, and thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. This is Demonic Sweaters, signing out.